everybody. I'm Mooney, and today I figure we will dive into something a little bit spooky. Not sure how it's going to go, but this is from the H.P. Lovecraft lore. So I am very interested to see what will happen. A little nervous, not gonna lie. But yeah, let's dive in. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, focused on the story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here. And movement is limited to progressing through the locations along the plot. Okay. Interesting.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
What? Whoa. During the game you... Okay. Look for the elder sign. Okay. Move what? Oh.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Oh God. Oh no.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate.
I mean, morphine is a very powerful drug.
When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Morphine. Morphine entered into the use of the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War and World War I. It was also sold without restrictions until 1914. Morphine became more popular after the invention of the hypodermic syringe around 1854. Frederick Sertiner, who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium, after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the United States. Oh Lord.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
That scared me.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
Oh my God, this is beautiful.
So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans in order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops on 27th July 1900 before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited? Jeez. Just as 1,000 years ago, the Huns under their King Attila made the name for themselves. one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. The refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899. Alrighty.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time. When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
That's so beautiful, though. I know it's tragic and awful right now, but...
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight. The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land. But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue. The change happened whilst I slept.
What?
Its details I shall never know. For my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
What is happening? What is that? Oh no, oh no. Oh, I don't like how it wiggles.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see. And in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
And rightfully you should be.
For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core. The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Ew. Ew.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear. The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
This is disturbing. Oh, okay. Yeah, what are you? The origins of Dagon. Dagon seems to be inspired by Fishhead, a short novel by Irvin S. Cobb about unnatural affinities between a hybrid idiot and the strange fish of an isolated lake. Supernatural horror in literature, H.P. Lovecraft. And Lovecraft's dream about a strange island emerging from the ocean and him crawling into the ooze that covered its surface. That would be a very, very rough dream to have. I dreamed that whole hideous crawl, and can yet feel the ooze sucking me down. Lovecraft's interest in the topic stemmed from his aversion to fish and sea smell. Okay. That makes some sense why he would. But still. Oh! Ew!
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
Oh, please, elaborate your theory.
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
I don't think that explains this.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might. Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
See, is there an elder? No? Okay. Awesome. Click on the dead fish.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat,
Oh, God,
which lay
the light
upon its
makes it-
side
oh,
and
God, it
afforded
makes it
a
worse.
slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens. As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
This is disgusting.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Where did you get food and water? Was it in your pack you already had?
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
Okay.
The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal. All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
No. What is that? What is that? Oh. I hate that noise. Well, those look like weird, fucked up crab legs. And that's clearly a whale.
That night, I encamped, and on the following day still traveled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
Oh God, they look like giant sea worms. Horrors of the ocean. The creator of the Cthulhu mythos and the fictional underwater city of Raya was convinced that life could not exist at the bottom of the ocean because the water pressure would make it uninhabitable. Today we know that the darkest depths of the ocean are home to many peculiar organisms. The deepest dwelling fish we have discovered so far, The Marania snailfish can live about 8,000 meters, more than 26,000 feet below the ocean's surface, in never-ending darkness, at a hellishly crushing pressures hundreds of times stronger than those found at sea level. Upon glancing at the modern photos of the deep-sea creatures, such as the anglerfish, the fang-tooth, or the viperfish, and their truly Lovecraftian characteristics, it's hard not to find some irony in this. All of these right here are very terrifying fish. They're disgusting.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from...
I'm sorry, narrator. I didn't mean to click. Which it turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance. Okay.
An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
I don't know how you could sleep in a place like this. It would literally smell of rotten fish and death and corpses and salt.
I know not why my dreams were so wild that night.
Really, you don't know why your dreams were so... Because you were in a hellscape of squiddy moving blah.
But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
No more sleep for you.
Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon, I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy. Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
Well, okay.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine.
Oh. That would... I don't like not being able to see what's before me. And for it to be so deep and dark that the moon itself wouldn't light it up would be terrifying.
I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
Oh no. No, no, no. No, no, no. I don't like that.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost, and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Oh, please. Please tell me. Oh God, please don't make me go in there.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent.
It's all... what? It's slimy. You're gonna fall and die.
Whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
The declivity? Trying to sound fancy.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath.
Why did you do this at night? Why did you just not wait until the sun came up?
Gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me.
It's a rock. Congratulations.
An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
Are we going towards the rock? The weird, wet, glowing rock? Ugh. It's such a gross noise.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself. But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature. A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
We're gonna go touch the wet, slimy, wet, non-rock, aren't we?
For despite its enormous magnitude and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith, whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
You can't see. Oh, good God. Oh, it's giving me shivers.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly
What
and
the
vividly
hell?
above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm.
Oh, is this like Cthulhu's summoning stone? Don't touch the Cthulhu summoning stone.
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the cyclopean monolith.
Sir, you can just say it's a rock.
On whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Don't go touch the rock.
The
We're gonna touch
writing was
the
in a
rock.
system of hieroglyphics unknown to me, and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books.
That's fucking Cthulhu in the middle.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
I will say, whatever carved this into the rock took its time, because there's like detailing where like shadows would be, or roughness of the skin of some of the fish. It's quite detailed.
Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world,
Yeah, the creepy ass things.
but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Oh my God, don't touch it. Let's see. Telling a story through carvings, nonsense, madness, nameless cities, journals. Okay. Okay. Yes, please don't spoil the ending.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré.
Are those mermaids? I don't know what they are.
I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain
Oh
sort of
shit, I
men.
can zoom.
Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto, or paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail.
That looks like Ursula over there. Like, that one kind of looks like it has a shark fin.
For the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
What the hell? Okay, I know the bottom one. I don't know these top three.
They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips.
Wow.
Glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their seeming background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
I don't think that that's out of proportion, if I remember correctly.
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
Okay.
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
What did you see?
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Dude, back away from the water! If the...
Loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith. About which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds. I think I went mad then.
Did you go mad or did you pass out? Don't pass out with some weird ass thing in front of you, that's how you die.
Of my frantic ascent of the sloping cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
Oh, is it? It sounds like it's ringing.
I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing. I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital.
What?
Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
Lovecraft was a prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism. In 1915, he started publishing his own journal called The Conservative, which included political and social commentary, poetry, short stories, and literature criticism written by him and other authors. Howard was a skilled wordsmith, but he also took criticism to heart, which resulted in his decision to step away from writing poetry and concentrate on weird fiction again. For the first time since his teenage years, Dagon, published in 1917, is one of the short stories written in that period. Interesting. I mean, it's fairly clean. Did I do that?
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist.
What is an ethnologist?
And amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Oh, so Dagon is the fish god. Okay. I mean, this is a nice study, I'm not gonna lie. Dagon. Dagon was the main deity of the Philistines worshipped throughout the Middle East of the ancient god of fertility and crops. The rulers of Akkad chose him as the patron saint of their war conquests. He also appeared as a judge of the dead in the Assyrian poem and an underworld prison warder in one of the Babylonian texts. He's often mistakenly only taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name. Okay, so Dag means fish. Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones. A humanoid race with fish traits that reside in the ocean. He is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. Okay.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Oh no, how can you be hopelessly conventional? But is that the that's the Necronomicon. Picture stories. Something about Japan. Yeah, I'm gonna pick up the Necronomicon. August Derleth was an American writer and I can't speak! He also befriended Lovecraft and published many works of his own through his company Arkham House. Oh god, not Arkham. Although he greatly contributed to the population of the author's works after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of his most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine to the Cthulhu mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horrors. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. This is a giant, very beautiful room.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing. I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave.
As morphine does.
So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Wow. All right.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm. A mere freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man of war. This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Oh no. Oh no, no. No, no, no. Sure, let's look at the Statue of Liberty.
The end is near.
Oof. What is that? What is happening? What? Oh no, God. I don't understand. I don't understand.
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Please don't go towards the door. Sir, you have...
It shall not find me.
No, no, no.
God, that hand!
Oh no.
The window! The window!
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Wow. I can say I honestly wasn't expecting that. You know what? I'm actually going to... I'm going to add these other two. Because that was... Oh, whoops. Oh, okay, that one's actually not out yet. Okay, so purchase for myself. That... I'm not gonna lie, that was really... It was really well done. And just kind of gave me a sense of... like, dread. Like, I was just... I didn't want to be in that location. Alright, let's see what happens. So if I exit... The other one should be... Okay, yeah. So I went ahead and I grabbed the first DLC for it. Do I have to close out?
I hear a noise at the door.
Oh, no. I know you hear a noise at the door. No, I wanna... Do I have to exit out and then come back? Or... I'm starting it back up again, so let's see. The DLC has ebook version of Dagon, wallpapers, such like that. I'm a little confused, I guess. I mean, I'm not quite sure how long it was supposed to be. Oh my god, there's a VR version of it? No. Okay, so it seems like it's not supposed to be too long. I really liked that though. I'm not gonna lie, it was creepy. I haven't read much of H.P. Lovecraft, so I'm very interested in more of the lore. So this was a nice little intro. So it's oh, I didn't get all the trivia. What happens if I don't?
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it. It shall not find me. God, that hand! The window!
Promise I don't go to the window. Do I have to go to the window? Yeah. Alright, well, I think that that's it. I'm a little bit confused on how much is actually supposed to be there, but I really liked it. Well, I suppose this will be a very short stream, at least until I find some more games similar to this. I thought it would be a little bit longer, but that's okay. I might stream a little bit later today. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye!